Hi, today I'm going to give you a walkthrough of my current route. I recorded a video yesterday that explains how I do all my setup, including how I bring LiveSplit into VR and do the hotkeys. So watch that one if you haven't and you want to know how to set this up. Today it's just going to be a quick tour of how to get through the game. So I will be doing it with splits, but they won't be like real splits. They're just showing you where my splits are. So, start new game. So the first thing to worry about in this tent is that sometimes you can get stuck in the wall. If that happens, just reset, but I think that ducking helps. I usually give this a little blast there before I get moving, because I think it helps at the end, but I haven't really checked. So you can kind of go around those rocks there. It is possible to jump over them, but I haven't been able to jump over this one, so probably not enough of a time save going over those. But, yeah, experiment. You might find a faster route. It is sometimes possible to get stuck on some of these corners, and just like as a demonstration here, I'm going to show you. So if in most of the game you're scanning, if your hand goes out of bounds, you can't scan. You're moving, if your hand goes out of bounds, you can't move. If your head goes out of bounds, sometimes it'll like move around a little bit, but not that much. But then also it'll stop you from working. So if you get stuck, try moving around a little bit. Sometimes that'll help. For movement, what I found is that like if you hold your arm out like this, you get pretty far. You can kind of like adjust a little bit, but it doesn't help that much. This is about as far as you can get. So find the angle that works for you. Your arm might get tired holding it out like this so much, but you'll get used to it. So this room, you kind of go around this side, and then you can climb up here. I do sometimes still get turned around in these early rooms, so I do recommend practicing them, because that will be how you beat me, is by doing a good job early on. And then in this room, you go pretty much to the right away. Just talking about scanner, aperture, and stuff. Here in New Game Plus, you have all this stuff at the beginning. I actually prefer material mode for most of the run. A few places where I'll show you why switching back and forth helps a bit. But material mode, because you're in VR, you already get the 3D parallax effect. So material mode will highlight where things are. But yeah, that's personal preference. So this is something that is true of most of the bridges in this game. These cracks, you cannot fall into them. Like, you can stand right there, not fall into them. There will be cracks that you can fall into. Those are usually the very big cracks. So as long as you are careful with this big jump here, the rest of this bridge you can take fast, not need to worry about it. I say that's true of most of the bridges. I will highlight the ones where you can get completely screwed over. Okay, now here, I recommend that you watch the tutorial video for the non-VR speedrun, just so that you can get an idea of what they're doing, because I'm going to gloss over some of that stuff. It's a good video. I'll link it in the description. So normally what you do in this room is you walk past that guy, and then you go up there and you kind of go around. And in your casual run, maybe you ended up going this way first accidentally, and there's some rubble here. Now, as far as I can tell, and as far as like, I think Moots tested it out. He's the current record holder in non-VR. He tested this out and he couldn't figure it out. There's no way to clip through these in the normal version, the normal PC version, the non-VR. But in VR you can. You can kind of come over here, and there's like a crack here in the wall that you can get through. You go back this way, go over here, go this way over here, come through here, come back here, and then go here, and come out. So this is where I do my first split for Rubble Skip, and I'll show you the map. Not that map, this map. Yeah. So we kind of like went through a bunch of rocks there and managed to get through. I guess rewind it, watch it slowly if you want to. It's a pretty good skip. I haven't like timed it directly against the other one, but it does seem to be faster. So yeah, so that's where Rubble Skip is. Now this one, I'm going to talk a bit. My space is 6 feet by 8 feet, and we haven't set up the rules yet, but we're thinking I've talked to some people who might run this, and what I'm thinking is that it's okay to like walk to the end of your space and like reach over and stuff like that. Like even stand on the edge. If you accidentally step out, just step back in. That's fine. But don't leave your space beyond that. So like I might, for example, like walk all the way out here to my couch to get an advantage in some parts. Don't do that. We don't have set limits yet. I don't want to like force people to redo their space if their space is slightly bigger than mine, for example. But if your space is huge, like keep that in mind. Maybe pick out a smaller space for yourself. Do whatever feels right, and we'll figure something out eventually. If it becomes a problem, we'll make a roll. I don't know. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So bridge skip. So on this skip, you're walking out on the bridge. You come out here, and normally you go on that bridge. Like you do a bunch of other things. You come up there. And eventually you jump down to this bridge over here that is across from us. But you'll notice here, as you get close to this one, there are some places where it says that you can step on this rope. Now in the non-VR version, they take a few steps on this rope. What I do is I first go back in real life to the end of my bounds, just over here. And when you do that, just to show you quickly, you can then take force, and what it does is it'll put your headset over the dot that you put on the ground. So that's how you can tell where you're going. So I can't, in my space, walk all the way over there. But if I take one step out, then after that, sometimes it thinks you're out of bounds, and then you kind of like lose this. But you can walk out forward. I'll show you where I am. Like you can see the bounds. You can see where I am. Walk out forward, and then you can teleport to the bridge directly. And so you're skipping all of these. You would say hi to the jump scare. Now on this bridge there are two gaps you have to worry about. It's this one and that one over there. And then the rest you don't need to worry about. So that's bridge skip, so I would do the split when I land over there if I remember, or later on if I forget. At this point, you're just kind of going up the stairs. And with the stairs in general, it's not so much of a big deal in this part, but in the later parts where the stairs get steeper, sometimes like you'll just be like doing whatever, and it'll stop thinking that you're pointing at something, and so it'll stop you from moving until you realize. And one way to avoid this is to just like shake around while you're doing that, so that if that happens to you, it'll go away immediately when you do your next step. And because I was talking, I forgot how far I am in here. Yeah, so the exit for that area is up here. And like sometimes if you keep following the stairs, you'll miss it. But yeah, over here. I'm gonna go back to my center. Yeah, so if you're doing like a run, you can get a feel for that. You can see where your bounds are when you get close to them, so you can stay within bounds. But yeah, so that's how you do that. Just going around these corners. I get turned around in here too. Yeah, and a lot of this is just remembering where things are, and I haven't done this in a few days, so that's why I'm forgetting. Now, this is the room where you lose the most time in VR. The people who are playing on not VR like catch up to us at this point. So over there we have the tiny little ledge that you got to walk on. And then after that there is a major skip that you will have to learn if you want to be competitive. It's kind of scary, but I'll walk you through it. So the first thing I'm going to do is walk as far left as I can relative to the gap in the space. And the reason for that is that when you are here, if your arm goes into the wall, you won't be able to walk anymore. So you have to keep your arm here to the right of the wall. But it's a very tight space, so sometimes it'll just put you in the wall. And the easiest way to deal with that is to just like slightly drift right while you're doing it. Like this. And with practice you can do this a lot faster, but that's what you got to do. And then when you get to here where it gets wider again, you're going to want to put yourself here and then kind of like walk backwards. Because what we're going to do is jump down to that ledge and die. And the thing you want to do here walk back to your space because you're going to be walking out onto this open air here. So prepare yourself mentally for that. Step back, and in a run you'll be trying to do this as fast as possible. But for demonstration, the way this trick works, I'll explain this now before we get into it, is when you die, if you have the save menu up, you can save. And then you can resurrect yourself by hitting a button. It'll resurrect you. And when it resurrects you, it'll put you at the last place you saved, which is on that ledge. So we're going to save here just in case I mess this up. And then we're going to walk. It's like hard to see if you're going to land on there, but like you just walk out onto space. And I know this feels scary in VR. You'll get used to it. And you don't want to land there. You want to land down there. So like that, pull up the menu. And now you have to save while the menu is glitching out. Create new save. And like one thing that's really annoying is that things that you have selected before, things that you're currently looking at, will be black, so you can't see them. So yeah, so create a new save. Then I'm going to hit the touchpad on my thing to resurrect myself. And I'm back where I saved, which is here.
Split.
That's where I do this split. Yeah, so, and for aperture, I really like a middle aperture like this. But like setting the aperture is touching this, and you sometimes accidentally touch that, so it's annoying. So if you see me like messing around with a small aperture for too long, it's because I haven't had time to adjust my hand so I can fix that. And sometimes with big gaps, just take a step forward. It's easier than like reaching out. There's some places where that's a lot easier because when you're in VR, your hand shakes. So you see that the little movement there. If that's happening a lot on a big jump, you can get like really messed up. So take a step forward, take a step back before you're in any place where you know you're gonna have to take steps forward. Yeah. And then another reason I like the material scanner is that it gives me a warning when I'm in this room, because this room was a room that I would get messed up in a lot, and I'll show you where. So down here I would always walk this way, and you get up here and there's nothing. And then you gotta walk back around this pole and walk up this area. So if you see the blue from your material scanner, just remember you gotta go on the bridge that is to the left of this big pole. And here there's just a wild way going just straight through the middle, following the stairs. That's why material scanner is useful, because you get the blue showing you where things are. Yeah, so here you're gonna want to shake your hand a little bit because you can get stuck on the stairs here. Like if you forget, like you'll just sometimes pause on the stairs and you'll wonder why, and that's why. Okay, so coming up here is prison skip. If you play this casually, you remember the big long prison section where you get stuck and you have to figure out where you're going. You can skip all of that by coming up here. And now for this skip, you're gonna want to make sure that you have room to step forward and step back. So like maybe I'll go over here. Thinks I'm out of bounds if I do that. Yeah, okay, so teleport there and then get here. Okay, so you see how there's like a little thing to stand on right there? Let's see. Yeah, it's a little darker red than the rest. We're gonna teleport onto there. I don't know what just happened there. Teleport onto there, and then we're gonna step back and teleport onto this little ledge here. And then we're gonna do this over here. And then from there we can get onto this bridge. So that's prison skip. That one also works in the non-VR version. So that's in their tutorial as well if you want to see that. Otherwise, like you'd have to go through like stairs over there, back to the prison section. Let's see. Yeah. So one thing I've noticed is that if you don't pick up map view, it doesn't load the markers for the prison section. And that thing where there are places where things load will come in handy later. Like this is the first time I saw it, and it doesn't really matter here. But that's a good thing to know. You can check your map to make sure that things are loaded. So, okay, so now we're just going to go here, past these weird invisible guys. Yeah, so this room, I used to get turned around in here a lot because I wasn't sure. You want to go over here, and there is a rock that you can jump over. And you can't really step on the rock, you just got to jump over it like this. And then you can go up this ramp. Then you go in here. And this one is another room I used to get messed up in a lot, so I'll tell you what I remember now, is that there is a guy in the middle, and you want to go to his left to get around him. Or to your left, his right, sorry. Yeah. Yes, nothing up there. Sometimes I'll see things in the wall, I'm like, I should go back and check that later to see if there's anything there, and a lot of times there isn't. But yeah. Okay. Oh, I forgot to split on prison skip. So prison skip I usually split on that bridge earlier. Okay, so now we're at the water rooms. And the water rooms is mostly about remembering what order they happen in, and then remembering what the trick is. So the first one is all land bridge, and you just take the land bridge. It's easy enough to remember. Just take the land bridge. Because if you fall out, you have to get past those and this thing. So I haven't actually tested this. I think like our motion in VR is about the same speed, maybe a little slower than the jumping motion in the non-VR version, but I think we can move faster in the water. I haven't like actually pulled up videos and tested those specifically yet. But yeah, okay, so the second room here is the go straight across room. So over there is the exit right across. So you're just gonna run right past this rock. And like if you wait for your scanner, you're gonna lose time. So you go this way and you start going left, and then your scanner will come back. And don't get stuck in rocks, because that'll kill you. Okay, so the third room is the go right, turn right room, is what I call it. So you come out of there, come over here, and you turn like basically hard right. There will be a little lake on your right. And this lake, I'll talk about it a lot in my runs. I'll say this is what I think is going to trip me up, because I think I'm going to accidentally go that way. And I never accidentally go that way. I always accidentally go that way. So go right, turn right, so sharp right. You just go there. Yeah. Okay, now this room you have to kind of like zigzag around some rocks. And what I have found, I've actually messed this up in runs before where like I'll go there and then you have to go over there and then you have to go over there. And I'll like try to do it blind. You cannot do it blind. You gotta scan this rock first here. And you can scan it through here. And now the safest way is going over there. There's also a shortcut going this way, but I have not gotten a consistent foothold in there. But you can also just kind of like go through here. And then the next one's over there. But there are no angles that you can reach from over there to scan this. So you're gonna have to either know exactly where it is and be really confident, or just wait for your scanner to come back. And the exit to this room is over here in this way. Yeah. Okay, so now we're in the big room. I'll show you how much we can scan right here from the beginning. Yeah, so this room is huge. And I know that there are several paths through it. Like I think you can take like this land bridge here that I'm pointing at with the corner. And you can take land bridges all the way. That's an option if you want to feel safe. But I have been doing two different things. Both of them are reckless. One of them is way more reckless than the other. And so I'll show you what those are. So in both of my routes, you come up to here. And you can see that over there. That is going to be your next target. And in my most reckless version, we're going to go for the you can see over there in yellow. That's the sensor upgrade. That is your marker. So I'll show you both versions. I'll walk you through both versions. Save game. Confirm. Okay. So I'm gonna run for this. Yeah. So you can see the guys that come up out of the water, and they'll chase you down. And I think you can move. I think they move slightly faster than you, but very slightly faster. So it's not a big deal. So in yeah, let's see. I'll show you my most reckless way first. This is, no, I'll show you my normal, the less reckless way first. So you're gonna come up here, and from here, there's a little beach down there. You're gonna go to that. And then from here, I should have scanned this better before I came over here, but over here there's an area you can climb. And then there's a land bridge over here. And you got to go around this one too, because there is a big rock over there that's blocking your way. But then once you get to here, and you get down on this rock, now you have a, where is it? You have a clear shot around this way, over to where the sensor upgrade is, and where the thing is. And there's some stuff that you can stand on there. And so it's kind of like some small hops between lands, and you're gonna have to book it. Because if you don't, you're going to get caught by the witch ghosts. So that is the less reckless way that I'm doing it, and yeah, I'll show you the more reckless way that has... It actually killed me twice in my current world record run. So if you want to beat me, you just got to do it, but not die twice. So I'll go down here. And I think what I was messing up was that I was jumping from like where I am now, and you actually got to get like as close as you can before you do the run. So let me do this, and you're going to be doing this without taking big scans if you want to get your time right. But yeah, so you can see there is the land that we're aiming for, where the sensor upgrade is. And if you turn around, you can see how close they got. So that's my method. And then from here, you can see where the lake exit is. It's that way. So we're just going to try to take the most direct route whenever possible. And I just got to kind of like know where the shortest paths to the land are. And you know, you can try to do this with as few scans as possible. Yeah, so like my route is basically just scanning, trying to remember where things are. And this one, if you try to do it directly through there, I think that's probably a little bit too long, so I'll go this way. Yeah, but it's just that, it's finding a route as direct as you can. You can pull up this if you need to see where the land, where the exit is. It is that way. If you get here. And then this is where I put my split for you got to the boat. Because we got to the boat. We are not getting in the boat. In fact, I would say definitely do not get in the boat, because if you're in the boat, you're going to mess up the hotkeys that I set up for LiveSplit. So if you like the boat, yeah, you're going to need different hotkeys. But as far as I can tell, there's no reason to get in the boat. The boat actually follows you around. It's kind of funny. So in the non-VR version, they have a trick where they like climb on this wall here, and they kind of hit the wall a few times, and it causes the water to despawn. We need the water for my version of this trick. So I'm calling theirs Old River Skip and mine New River Skip to differentiate. But we're going to kind of blindly go around this corner until we get to the room with the salt on the ceiling. And then you're going to go to the right. And if you go to the right in this room, there is a big chunk of land that's going to show up here. And you go to kind of like the end of this big chunk of land right here. And you know how I showed you earlier that most of the time you can't scan if your hand is outside the wall? Here you can. So you can kind of see there's the river out and all that stuff. And if you can scan all the way to the other side, you can't really see it here, but you can actually see the end of the river. And this is where I'm using my trick where when you switch between modes, you sometimes you'll get a brighter version than you would if you were in one mode. So now this is actually a really good example. We can see where that is. And we're going to aim not for the big room, we're going to aim for before the big room, and I'll show you why I'm going to get over there. It's very important, do not aim for the big room. And from here, you try to see if you can get up on the wall so that you can get your scanner working again. But the important thing, pull up your map. If you can see the markers that are inside the mine, you're good. If you cannot see them, you're going to have to walk back a little bit and try to find the loading zone. Loading zone is right before the big room. So if you check your map and you can see the markers, you found the loading zone. So yeah, now we're just going to get out of here. And I have a video where I figured that out, and I'm just cry laughing because I found this big skip, but the mine doesn't load, you just fall off at the end of the world there. So that is the important thing, is to make sure that you check your map to see that you hit the loading zone before you go over there. Okay, so that is New River Skip. Split. That's where we do the split. Okay. Go back to material one. Time to feed my cat. Give me a second. Back from feeding my cat. Okay, which way? I was coming from that way. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. The timer is when I feed her. And as far as she knows, I don't know when the timer's going to go off, so she cannot get fed ahead of time. So there are opportunities for optimization in this room, but they are not climbing these walls. I have eliminated that. I've tried to climb them. You cannot climb them. You run out of footholds. That one has some weird double wall thing going on. Like the late skip, you can probably clip through those walls there, but nothing back there. So optimization is probably going to come from finding the fastest route through here. And so you can kind of cut the corners like that. But there are holes here that you can fall in. So I take it fairly carefully. This is also a good opportunity to think about cord management if you're using a headset with a cord. Yeah. Same thing with this one. I take it pretty normally. I have found that you can climb that rock over there, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It gets you to where you fall if you fall in certain places. But in those you die, so it's not even a useful thing. Yeah. So don't go that way, go this way. And so this is one of the ones where I'm just going to suggest you step forward, step back, get back to normal. So here you can kind of clip the edge. I don't know how useful it is. So I take the first one pretty normally usually. But on the second one here, you can see that's the bridge that we're going to be going over. You normally have to go around. This skip is also in the non-VR version. You can just kind of climb over here. Yeah. So it's a little hard because sometimes you end up falling to a lower version of the rock. Yeah, so practice this if you want to use it. Sometimes it's hard to find the footholds. Yeah. So this is the worst bridge. All of the cracks in this bridge you can fall into, and some of them are basically the entire gap of your arm. So you're gonna want to step as far back as you can. So like I'll be over here. Also, sometimes here you will accidentally do this. You're standing on this rock, you haven't actually fallen, but you're not on the bridge, so you got to go back up on the bridge. So this jump especially, like, I thought from like my first casual run and my first few attempts that it is actually impossible to make this jump without stepping forward. It is. You just gotta get like really close to the end, or you can just do this. Just walk. Make sure you're over there. Get back. Give yourself some room again. This one too, and like, be careful because you can fall in these gaps. They look tiny, but you can fall in them. So be careful on this bridge. It's the worst bridge. Here's another one. Step forward. Get over there. And I have sometimes like fallen after I clear the worst parts of this bridge. It's because all of these cracks you can fall in. So
split.
Done with worst bridge split. Happens there. Now here you're just kind of going around in these corners. And this rock, I get stuck in a lot, like I'll accidentally clip into it, and it's one of those ones where the wall is kind of doubled up, and therefore there is the scan outside trick, especially like this one here somewhere. Anyway, if you get stuck in a wall, step to your left. So in here, just to eliminate the thought from your mind, I have attempted, like, it's possible to clip into here, but if you clip into it, the buttons don't work. You don't have to do the first one, you do have to do the second one. But if you're doing the second one, you have to clip through that gate coming and going, and that gate is hard to clip through. So, and just like for your casual run and for the non-VR speed run, you go to the right, you find your way over the rock. They have a trick back there, but I have a trick that works here pretty well. And this is usually pretty fast. There are two ways to do it. You can try to teleport through that hole, or you can climb on the fence, which I think is faster right now. That's what I'm using currently. And so to demonstrate, if you step through here, you're out of bounds because you're on the wrong side of the fence. It knows you're at the side of the fence. You're out of bounds. You can't scan. You can't teleport. But if you're here and you're taking steps up here, at some point it will let you through. And you just got to keep doing it until it lets you through. And there might be some trick like to what angle you're doing it from. But yeah, so now you can see that it has recognized that I am on this side of the fence, so it'll let me teleport through. So that's the first button. And if you're running out of here, it helps to duck. I took it pretty slowly, but if you're going fast, you can hit your head on that, and it'll stop you from moving for a few seconds. Okay, so in here, in the non-VR version, there's a pipe skip where you get on top of the pipe. I could not get that to work. What you will see are two cracks here. And the one you want is the crack on the left. I get confused sometimes and try the crack on the right, and it doesn't work. So in here, you want to kind of teleport through here. And now you're on the other side of these rocks over here. Then you can follow this path down here. Yeah, I used to put the split there, but now I put it at the button. So here, second button.
Split.
I get back. I just take the intended route, which is the crack that we got through will put you here, so you can just look for where you've scanned when you came out of that. And I have gotten stuck in that rock too, so be careful with that one. Okay. So now you gotta wait for this. but there are a few things you can do to prepare. While you're in most of the elevator, you cannot fall off the edge. Like, I'm gonna climb up on the rail to get me slightly closer. And you have plenty of time to do this. So you're gonna climb up and you're gonna wanna be here on the corner here. And like you'll see, I cannot do anything there. It is possible to fall off the elevator and then stand there and die, but only when you get to the very top. So be careful at the very top. Yeah, so keep your thing open. And you can't really go from down here yet, but when you get close to the top, you can kind of scan where the walkways are before you get to them. Yeah, so just like see, there's the boundary. And that'll give you like a visual head start for where you gotta go. I'm gonna demonstrate a little funny thing here. You can see it in most, like, not my world record run because I actually messed up teleporting off the edge there. But in some of my older runs, and I'm sure in my future runs, there's this thing where you step off the elevator before it has stopped moving, and you keep going up as the elevator's going up, even though you're on the pathways. So scan here ahead, climb as much as you can, and then we're going to teleport over to here, and this is where you got to be careful because so now I'm not in the elevator, but I'm still going up. And usually at this point you're still kind of late, like you're already walking, so this will happen to you while you're over here. But yeah, if you notice that you're moving up, that's what's happening. Yeah, and you can kind of cut through there. I don't know why I didn't. Yeah. Okay. So here sometimes you get some loading and it's annoying, going different ways. So you can jump straight off the edge here. I don't recommend it because sometimes it'll kill you, but you can go to the side here, and you can do this basically just as fast. You just keep going forward, but you go slightly to the side. And then come down here. And sometimes, like, I usually do, they talk about this in the non-VR tutorial too, is you can approach that either by going around or coming underneath it. And in the non-VR run, I think that actually affects your movement bonus at the end. I don't think it does in VR. If it does, I don't think walking in water makes you that much slower. Haven't experimented yet, but things to think about. So I usually just go underneath. And sometimes you can walk past it.
Split.
That's where the startup cutscene sign is. So you kind of have to like look around, and you can't see it if you're underneath it, which is annoying. But yes, that's that. And then this is where I usually use like cat view if I'm in the game, because the cutscene can make you sick. So if you don't like watching the cutscene, don't feel bad about that. It's really absolutely nauseating when you cannot control where you're going and you got to fly through space like this. So feel free to use room boot there. And my plan from here on out is to always be standing in the center at the end of the cutscene, unless collectively we decide that it's okay to like walk around your space and get something. I know that you can actually walk out of your tent, but it's outside of my bounds to do that. So staying in bounds, staying in the center when you get to the tent. And for this, you kind of like learn the music cues and learn what to watch out for, so you know when you're getting close to your tent again. The last thing that it shows you before it does the final cut before your tent is the chasm. So look out for the chasm. I did too many splits, so good time to test out my undo split. There we go. Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but yeah. is hold down the trigger and then you hit the grip. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to undo an extra split. So that's what that is if you followed my instructions, or you can set up your own and pick something else you like. Yeah. So you can turn around to face the door. It is actually backwards from the way that you're doing it at the beginning when I've tested it out, but it might be because that's the way I ran in, but I don't know. But in any case, you don't really need to move around for this last section. Yeah, I'm not sure where I messed up my splits. And this cutscene will mess you up because you'll think that something has gone wrong because it takes so long to give you control back. Yeah, you're going to want to be like this, crouching to get under the door, hurt your back, yeah. But it happens after the dots start moving around, so you can wait for that. Like it's that, and then it is an uncomfortably long pause, and then you can control again. And at this point, start holding down your left trigger if you're using the same hotkeys as I am, because you're going to hit your right trigger when you pick up the scanner, because that's when you can call time. So you'll see that's when it gives you control back. I was a little late by hitting time. But when it does the audio change and you lose control and then the credits come up, that's when you did it. So what? Okay, yeah. I was reading that wrong. Yeah, so that's the run. That's how it goes. And good luck.